Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-host, Jen Isgro and Tom Kokoza. How you doing tonight, Jen?
I am great, Joe. It's another Friday with my two friends, diving deep into the Wheel of Time. And what could be better than that?
Nothing, Jen. Tom, how you doing?
Yes. I'm doing well, Joe. I agree with all of Jen's sentiments. It's one of my favorite times of the week. Spend with you.
It's you I like.
I had an interesting what's it called? A weekend. Not an interesting weekend. There's an interesting happened to me over the weekend. We were watching, my wife and I were watching, there's a show on, I guess, National Geographic. It's about the 90s. Like it's a season series about the 90s. So my wife and I have been watching it. And we get up to like one of the later episodes. It's called Girl Power. And it's all about like, women in the 90s and how like, talked about Spice Girls. They talked about the World Cup U.S. Soccer team, the women's soccer team. And they're showing like the clips from the whole soccer thing and everything and how crazy and wild it was and like how huge it was. And it was like, I think it was one of the most like top 4 sporting events ever like watched, talking about on television or something like that. And they're showing like clips of the game and stuff like that. And like at the end of it, my wife turns to me and she goes, "I understand sports now. I get why people like sports." She had like this breakthrough where she finally understood like why people like sports. And then she actually watched football with me the next day.
Really?
Like not a whole game, but parts of like the last hour of a game, of the night game of the San Francisco Detroit game.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry for those Detroit fans, but yeah, I took up too much time. So we should get into this because we've got a big topic today. We're going to do a deep dive into one of my favorite characters. I think probably one of the characters that everybody loves to hate. But before we get into that, Jen, what's happening?
That's right. You guessed it. It's what's happening. Our first post comes from Maya Simonson, who plays Chiad on the show. She blessed us on her Instagram with a huge photo dump and behind-the-scenes look at the making of a maiden. Maya writes, "Just realized we've never had a proper Chiad appreciation post, and it would be a shame to let this badass woman go by. So here's some up-close pics to show you the incredible detailed work that goes behind Chiad and the Aiel on the Wheel of Time. Chiad's hair, of course, the distinctive Aiel red hair that makes me want to dye my own hair red. Chiad's hair is usually always tied in a braid, so she's always ready to fight. But I still think you guys should see the wig out, as it's just amazing work by the wig maker, Alex Rouse, and the hair and makeup on the Wheel of Time by Davina and her team, who makes it all come together. And of course, the woman who knows Chiad best, down to every freckle, Ruby. When it comes to costumes, Sharon Gillam has made sure that we each have our unique style. When I first put on my Aiel costume, I was so excited. Still remember the feeling. As soon as I put on the costume, Chiad always appears to me immediately. I feel strong and fearless. We've got every possible means to blend into the desert, but also move freely and effortlessly. I'm grateful that Sharon made that possible for us whilst being able to look fierce as F. And of course, there was made space for our 3 spears, shield, and dagger. You'll also find me next to Naomi Joy Todd, who is the creator alongside Gavin Lilly on the Aiel Sign Language and our dialects, alongside the many, many other dialects and languages she does on the show. Having had Naomi be a part of creating this language has made it so much fun and very cheeky. We know the Aiel like to be a bit cheeky. As well, we are only a few on Watt that knows this language, so it's always fun to be on set with the ones that do. Raga Ragnars and Ayula Smart. Lastly is a little nostalgic video from the very first day I got a spear in my hand. Thank you to the stunt team, Jan and Roman, and my stunt double Alice for being not only an amazing, inspiring woman that makes Chiad look like she could do literally anything, but also is an incredible, patient teacher. That's it for today's sentiment. So before anything else, I will draw your attention to the comment left on this post by Raga Ragnars, who plays Bane, wifey, with 2 heart eyes emojis.
Yeah. Yeah, she's posted that like on stories before, I think, right?
Yes. Someone please check on our friend Bane and Chiad Grace and make sure she's okay after reading that. The pictures are great. We get to see some of the fabulous behind-the-scenes people she mentioned, as well as close-ups of her hair, makeup, and costume, and that short video of her practicing in the gym with a spear. I am so happy to see all of this, so thank you so much to Maya for sharing.
That's her first day with the spear. That's really good for first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I thought that's pretty badass.
She cut it right before she stabbed her foot.
That's a great wig, though. I feel like everybody wears wigs all the time on television. I'm never going to believe anybody's real hair now.
Right.
When did
It looks really good on her.
When did things go so sideways?
It's just
where
easier
are
than like
real hair.
it's easier than doing your own hair every day. Like just do the wig and put the wig on.
I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of work to put that wig on though to make it look like it's your hair.
It's a work to put it on, but it's like they do it like over here on the mannequin and then they just like put it on your head and it's done instead of like you sitting there and have your whole
Well, I mean the makeup
hair
that they do around the edges of the wig to
right. Yeah, no, I know. No, it is a lot of work, but I feel like it's easier than doing a person's real hair or dyeing your hair, cutting your hair.
It's a good question. We'll have to ask somebody who's a wig and hair expert.
Maybe we'll get somebody like that on the show one day.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Next up, we got an announcement recently that Donald Finn will be appearing in the musical Hadestown in London, opening on February 10th. Donald will be playing the character of Orpheus. Excuse me, I just lost my voice. Orpheus. Hadestown is a Tony and Grammy Award-winning Best Musical with music, lyrics, and book by singer-songwriter Anais Mitchell. So I am embarrassed to admit, as a resident of New York City and a self-proclaimed theater nerd, that I do not know anything about Hadestown and have not heard any of its music.
So I think it's actually running in New York. I think there's another group running it in New York currently.
So yeah, it's not off Broadway
right now?
yet. Yeah, it's still on Broadway.
Yeah, okay. You can go watch it.
I've heard of it. I just don't know anything. Like, what is the storyline?
It's like a Greek mythology type thing. Like it's literally Hades, and I don't know the whole story, but it's kind of like he plays Orpheus or something like that.
Yeah. He's Orpheus.
Yeah, it's kind of like a play off of that, but it's got the music is done by what's her name?
I said it, Anais Mitchell.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody
I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Who was she from though? Was she in a band?
Yes.
What?
Oh, I don't know.
Of course, Joe.
She was in a band, but
she's in a famous band, I think.
looked it up. Oh, I don't know. Bonnie Light Horseman?
No, I must be thinking
that's not a famous band.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's why I didn't. Okay. That's why I didn't make note of it.
I must have been thinking of another play. But yeah, you can go see it, just not with Donald Finn.
I mean, I could go see it with Donald Finn if I went to England.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a much quicker trip to Broadway.
I don't know who Orpheus is. I never heard of that person.
Orpheus is he
Does it have something to do with dreams? Yeah,
he eats the lotus flower, right? I think they really. So here's the Wikipedia summary. Hadestown is a sung-through musical with music, lyrics, and book by Anais Mitchell. All right, pronounce that. It tells a version of the ancient Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. Eurydice? I don't know how to pronounce that one. Sure. She's a young girl looking.
Oh, you know what it is? Ani DeFranco is joining the cast. That's what it was.
Okay.
Oh, that's a big difference. Okay.
Yeah.
She's looking for something to eat, goes to work in a hellish industrial version of the Greek underworld to escape poverty and the cold. And her poor singer-songwriter lover Orpheus comes to attempt to rescue her. Right? So there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So he's like one of the main characters.
Yes, he is the male lead in the show.
Awesome. Okay, great.
So that's what it was.
Orpheus was the son of Apollo and the muse Calliope.
Yeah. Oh,
I've heard of those people.
On the website too, you can just flip back and forth between the London and New York sites.
So who's playing him in New York?
Oh, I don't know who this guy is.
Read his name.
I don't.
Read it to me.
Also tour. I don't know where it has.
I probably won't know it. I used to know Broadway people. I don't think I know very many anymore.
I don't know.
Okay.
On here where it says the.
All right, don't worry about it. Anyway, I know some members of the Wheel of Time community will be seeing this show, so hopefully we'll get a good review of it and Donald in the coming weeks. Okay, and last but never least, it's #Hen News. You have a chance at owning a hen of your own on February 17th if you live in the UK and have room in your yard to accommodate poultry. Juliet Howland writes, Such a sad little face, and one I've seen so many times it's heartbreaking. But she would have been rescued and is no doubt in a loving new home now. And on 17th of February, Chicken Rescue UK are doing another rescue/rehoming with the Wheel of Time crates. Little ones like these, right now in the egg farm, are desperately in need of saving. Please go to the website, www.chickenrescue.co.uk, for details if you're interested in giving a loving home to 1, 2, or more of these amazing little girls. Collection points are all over the southern half of the UK, and there will be a pop-up one in West Wittering. Thank you. Hashtag rescue hens are the best hens. Hashtag rescue hens. Hashtag hen news. So I believe it was at Malkyrie.com where they raised money for the crates.
Yeah, they did some fundraising, I believe.
So they're just paying for the crates, or are they like Wheel of Time themed crates? Like Wheel of Time logos on them?
I don't know. I don't think so. They're probably just crates.
Crates that they paid for. Okay. All right. It's still good.
If anything, they would have Malkyrie Talks logos on them, maybe.
That's true. Okay. If you look at the photo on the post, it's one sad chicken, and hopefully she does have a home right now. But how can you not get out there on February 17th and bring home one of these hens? Or more. They're very social creatures. Also, they're incredibly strong. I mean, you can hit one with your car and drive like a mile, and it'll probably be okay.
So, I don't recommend that.
I reposted this on our Instagram stories, and I was like, I got to put a song to it. And I was this close to putting In the Arms of an Angel.
I saw what you did put that. That was good.
I was going to do it, and I was like, I think that's probably people. It's
right.
People think I'm making fun of it,
right?
Which I didn't want people to think I was doing. So
yes. So
I did rescue me.
Yeah, go ahead. What'd you put?
Rescue me.
Rescue me.
Nice.
In all seriousness, there are a lot of hens that need homes. So if you have the means and are in the area, give a hen a home. Live from West Wittering, I'm Jen Isgro. Back to you in the studio, Joe.
Thank you, Jen. All right, so we're going to get into a deep dive of, as I said before, one of my favorite characters to hate, and that is ELAIDA do Averni a Rohan, or
Nice.
Wahan, depending on, I guess, how you want to pronounce it, or just Rohan, if you prefer. Yeah, so Jen, do you want to bring us in with the first appearance of ELAIDA in the Wheel of Time?
I would love to. This is The Eye of the World. Chapter number, I didn't look in advance. Chapter number 40, The Web Titans. This takes place in Camelin, in the Royal Throne Room. Okay, so here's the first description of ELAIDA. Behind the throne and to the other side, a woman in deep green silk sat on a low stool, knitting something out of dark, almost black wool. At first, the knitting made Rand think she was old, but at second glance he could not put an age to her at all. Young, old, he did not know. Her attention seemed to be entirely on her needles and yarn, just as if there were not a queen within arm's reach of her. She was a handsome woman, outwardly placid, yet there was something terrible in her concentration. There was no sound in the room except for the click of her needles. So you'll notice she wears a different color than red.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then, so now Morghese is saying to Elaine that she wasn't supposed to go look at Logain, and she's going to the tower soon. So the woman behind the throne seemed occupied with counting her stitches. In 1 week, she said suddenly, you will be wanting to come home to your mother. In a month, you will be wanting to run away with the traveling people. But my sisters will keep you away from the unbeliever. That sort of thing is not for you, not yet. Abruptly, she turned on the stool to look intently at Elaine, all her placidity gone as if it had never been. You have it in you to be the greatest queen that Andor has ever seen, that any land has seen in more than 1,000 years. It is for that we will shape you, if you have the strength for it. Rand stared at her. She had to be ELAIDA, the Aes Sedai. Suddenly he was glad he had not come to her for help, no matter what her Aja. A sternness far beyond Moiraine's radiated from her. He had sometimes thought of Moiraine as steel covered with velvet. With ELAIDA, the velvet was only an illusion.
I have that. I wrote that down. I have a question. I'm going to start this off with a question because it just popped into my head. Is ELAIDA only the second Aes Sedai that Rand ever meets? Like at this point, she's the only other one besides Moiraine?
I guess.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great description because that's like that's only the second description of an Aes Sedai we get in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, right? We don't get any other Aes Sedai in the first book?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I wonder if what she's saying about Elaine is like just based on her foretelling, not like any other information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to get into that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think you did a good job, Jen. That was great. And we get the description of her, right? She got the dark hair and eyes. You mentioned her being handsome. It's funny. I found somewhere it says, some thought her beautiful with a permanently severe expression. And I was thinking, that's just a nice way of saying she has resting bitch face.
Yeah.
So ELAIDA is born in 950, which means she's about 48 years old at the start of the books. How old? Well, we already know how old she's going to be in the show. Well, we know how they're playing her, at least. I don't know if they'll mention her age in the show, though. She was the youngest daughter in a minor noble house in Mirandi. She went to the White Tower at the age of 17, and she spent 3 years as a novice, 3 as an accepted before being raised in 973, of course, choosing the Red Aja. So she was accepted while Moraine and Swan were novices, and then when Moraine and Swan became accepted, ELAIDA was raised to Aes Sedai. So they knew each other. She gave them like a really hard time. And I think that's, I think this is from A New Spring, right? She's present for Moraine's test, right? And she gives her she tries to make her fail the test. Like she gets like really harsh on her in the test. I can't remember what she does.
She says that it's to test them as hard as she can because they're going to be tested far harder in the world or something like that. But it's really because she's a jealous biatch.
Yeah. She's actually only one of the few people who remembered that Moraine and Swan were friends when they were novices and accepted. Most people seem to forget that. And I think, Tom, part of her jealousy is, right, because at the time, ELAIDA was like one of the strongest in the power, and she was thought to be like, she was going to be like top 2 or 3 strongest Aes Sedai in the one power, and then Swan and Moraine come along who are just as powerful as she is.
Exactly. And she moved very quickly. 3 and 3 is very quick for being raised, and they moved just as quickly. And she was not pleased about that either.
Yeah. Actually, I have a note here that only 3 sisters were more powerful at the time of her raising.
Cadsuane,
Karenna, and I can't remember. It's something with an M, maybe. I think it might be the one who's in. Is it the one who's the dark friend, the black sister in A New Spring? Sorry, spoilers for A New Spring.
I can't remember.
It might be her. I can't remember, but I think it might be her.
Okay.
Well, she took care of Karene, didn't she?
Yes. And she dies. She winds up dying too, right? So that just leaves Codswain
the
and
other one
ELAIDA.
dies?
The one who's the black sister, I think, dies.
I don't remember who that is.
So she was pillow friends with Maidani, which ELAIDA ended when she was raised to Aes Sedai because she thought it was inappropriate now that she was, I guess, a full sister. And I don't know if Maidani, I guess, was still an accepted. Which comes back later on, I think, right? As towards the end of the series, she tries to like rekindle her relationship with Maidani.
Wait, how does that? How do you spell what you're saying?
Meidani.
Oh, okay. Didn't even know who that is.
She's like, and
she doesn't
like
appear
dressing
until,
all provocatively to try and gain ELAIDA's favor.
She comes in the last few books. She pops up.
That's probably.
Yeah, I don't even know if you meet her before then.
No, I think that's when you find that out.
Yeah. I think you find that out.
What does she see in ELAIDA?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. She's attracted to strong women. I don't know.
Takes all types.
That's, I guess, every Aes Sedai, though. I also have a note here that she wasn't part of the male channeler pogrom that happened where, they just started killing male channelers, those Reds, which I think was really behind, was blacks who were behind that, right?
Blacks, Reds.
Yeah.
Potato. No, I didn't say that. I'm a Red-eye.
But ELAIDA was aware of it and she did support it, but she didn't participate, except there's one case where she did participate. And this one, this is interesting because I didn't know this and I want to ask about whether you think they're going to put this in the story because this could be fun. Her only involvement in that was ensuring that Tom's nephew, Owen, was gentled on the spot when they captured him.
She's so awful.
So do you think they'll put that in the show? I didn't even know that. I don't even know if I ever knew that, or if when I read it, I just never
I don't think
made a connection.
I don't think it would matter because I don't think Tom knows.
What if he does, though?
How?
And they put that in the story.
Well,
he said like he was
I will
away when they did it, didn't he?
Yeah, and so one of the reasons that like Moraine asks like Tom to, I think Moraine asks Tom, it's in the beginning of the Shadow Rising.
Doesn't she give him in his letter the names of the?
Yeah,
she does. And before that, when she asks him to like basically just to work with her, like as opposed to like walking opposed to her, because she knows that he's guiding Rand and like he's been politicking and I think he's already killed a noble at that point, or had one assassinated. She promises him to let her to like tell him who the sisters were that were responsible. Now there's no payoff to it, right? But like that's why that's there. I think it's just a dangling thread.
Probably not gonna. He's not even in the story at this point, and probably won't interact with Rand in the next season. So
what the fuck? Yeah, you're
like
probably right.
I don't even know if that would mean anything or matter.
Yeah,
unless she just says it and it's like fun for us, and he never finds out. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his role. I guess they're just skipping the whole part where he's like kind of does some mentoring to Rand, or that already happened, I guess, in the one episode in season 1. And they're just going to lean more towards him hanging out with Elaine and then Matt, and we'll see. It'd be cool to put this in. Like, there's some connection where you find out between ELAIDA and Tom. That would be fun.
I think you could do something where if Elaine uncovers who Tom is and remembers him from her youth, and you've got like him kind of giving his version of events in that storyline, and ELAIDA, seeing ELAIDA from a different point of view in ELAIDA's storyline, whatever that happens to be. I think that would be an interesting kind of juxtaposition to get like two different insights into what Andor was like.
Yeah.
What if ELAIDA had something for Tarangale, and she's mad at Tom for killing Tarangale, and that's why she had his nephew. She had his nephew still, or Gentle. Now I'm really getting like soap opera.
Yeah, I don't think ELAIDA likes dudes, and she has him killed. She has Owen killed strictly because Tom has too much influence in the court, and she wants to get him out of the court for a while. Yeah, but still, she hasn't still, right? Like that's literally just because she's trying to. That has to do with her complete misunderstanding of her foretelling.
Yes.
Let's get to the foretelling, because this is one of the more interesting parts about ELAIDA. Right, so she has the talent of the foretelling, which is it's an unerring ability to predict the future. They consider it a talent because they think it's linked to the one power, but you're not channeling when you're foretelling. So I don't know what that means, but and we probably never
I'm a little worried that they might not put this in.
Well,
because we just had a foretelling a person that could do foretelling last season. Like,
well, they've already laid the groundwork then.
I guess, but
it's so some of the other characteristics, right? It's not controlled by the person, so somebody can't just like make themselves foretell. It just happens. And obviously the words, as we'll learn, are open to interpretation in the sense of you can misinterpret them, and that's not necessarily what you think it is, which is what happens to ELAIDA. So did you know ELAIDA is the first since Guitar Morosa to have the talent of foretelling? Did you know that?
No.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, she was around when Guitar was around, so it's not like that far. But
did she have it at the same time as Guitar?
Guitar is old.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
For a long time.
Yeah, if you think about when they're born, yeah. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. She's only like 20 at this time. Well, 23, depending on when she has her first foretelling when she's accepted. So she's in her 20s when she has her first foretelling, and Guitar has got to be like, 200 plus years old at that point?
You would think so.
That's a big difference.
They're contemporaries.
Yeah. So they're contemporaries. Yeah, so ELAIDA has her first foretelling when she is accepted. And that foretelling is, quote, the royal line of Andor would be the key to defeating the Dark One in the last battle. The royal line of Andor would be the key to defeating the Dark One in the last battle, which is why ELAIDA goes to Camelin and sets herself up there.
I have a question about that, though.
Yeah, let's go.
Now, did anyone else hear that foretelling? That's my first question.
Somebody must have. I don't know if it explains.
If you're having the foretelling, like Katara sees Bran being born, but she's not like, I see a baby, he's on Dragon Mount right now, go get him.
But it's not like it's a clear picture. Like
I don't know, what she says
4K
is like
picture of
words just come out of your. So she can't control what she's saying. Is basically what it is?
No.
So she just goes into a fit or whatever.
She's in a fugue state.
But they sometimes
those words just come out of her mouth.
Yeah, and it says though sometimes they do remember. Like it just says sometimes they don't remember what was said, so they can remember what they said. So she could have been alone.
If you're alone in your room and you have a foretelling and say something out loud, but nobody else is there to hear it, like it's like a tree falling in the woods.
Well, I do think that's what happened.
Is that what you think about, Jen, when you talk to yourself when you're by yourself?
Yeah, no.
I don't think anybody else knows about this foretelling. She keeps it secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think she had this one by herself, right?
Yeah.
Now she says, right? She's the one who says, "This I foretell." When she's done, I don't know if that's part of it or not. That's just her stylistic.
That's in the later one.
So says that's the foretelling when she does the foretelling in front of Red, she says it.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if that's a stylistic choice or if that's like her coming back. Do
you think that was her, not the foretelling? Is that what you're asking?
That's what
nobody would know.
So
like winks.
So here's my question for you about her foretelling. Right. All right. Do you think she got it wrong?
Yeah, well, clearly she got it wrong. Why? Because you think Elaine has such a big role in the.
Elaine is a key figure in the last battle.
Both of them?
I mean,
I don't
it's
think
possible.
To be honest, like the royal line of Andor doesn't say one specific person in the royal line, right?
That's true. It could the royal line of Andor. She doesn't say it's yes, exactly.
Which
I was about to say
royal
exactly
line?
what you just said, Jen, and I stopped myself because it's very vague. It just says the royal line of Andor. It doesn't say one specific person in the royal line of Andor. It's just the royal line.
Right. But they're also two different royal lines.
Yeah.
But they all, I think they're all roll up to like one of the queens, though. Like one of the old
they're
queens.
all, that's what it is. They're all
have blood.
descendants of Ashara. But like, I would say I sent the entire series going, well, clearly, like everything else that ELAIDA does, she's wrong here. She should know because when she has that foretelling, there's a different royal line of Andor in charge time, and she just says, well, I'll wait till there's a new queen and I'll just attach myself to that person.
Well, Tigraine left, so she was like, well, that girl's gone, so I guess it's not her. That's basically
right, which is a dumb thing to do. You go like, the royal line of Andor is the key to last battle.
What if the
she
two
just left,
people
let me go find her.
What if the two people spoke to each other in foretelling? Like Guitar's like, no, I told Tigraine to leave because she's the key. Like, okay. So wait, which one? Like, find out the information.
Yeah. I think I mean, I do think that she has it wrong, but I do think there's an interesting argument to be made about the fact that Elaine is a very key figure to the last battle.
No, I'm with Jen now. I'm with Jen. It's the whole entire royal line. Everybody's part of it.
Just everybody.
Especially Gowan.
Gowan, Gowan saves Egwene's life, and if he didn't save Egwene's life, things wouldn't have ended the way they did.
No.
So Galad,
right?
Everybody.
Galad gets he does some stuff.
He fights Demon Dread and
he fights Demon Dread. He loses an arm. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Full spoilers, folks.
But he ends up happy with Berylene. So
yeah, things work out well.
Yeah.
And
he's got the other line in him. He's on the Rand side. So
yeah.
Although
that's not the royal line's Rand side, right?
Well, it would have been.
Yeah, they have the same mother.
Yeah, it's the same mom. Yeah.
Why? I feel like the same way where I literally cannot remember.
I always forget. Like, you have to like go
related
through.
To him.
Rand has to go. There's a scene in the book where Rand has to be like, "Wait, can you just explain it to me?
Somebody
I really want to make sure I'm not related to this lady."
It's hard to because you don't want to. Yeah, no one wants to remember Tarangale, but he's all their dads.
Rand, but
no, I mean the
else,
other three.
Yes.
The three.
Yeah. I think it's a pattern.
The pattern.
That ELAIDA does very well of not understanding or misinterpreting pretty much every one of her significant
yes.
foretellings.
She's a fool.
She hears what she wants to hear and then acts on that.
True. Yeah. That's exactly what she is. It's kind of fun. It's like frustrating sometimes when you read it. You're like, you're so stupid. You're like, what?
You're so stupid.
You're so stupid. So she does have another foretelling when she meets Rand and Camelin in the chapter that Jen was reading, her introduction. She's at the royal court and there's a bunch of people there. And she says, from this day, Andor marches toward pain and division. The shadow has yet to darken to its blackest, and I cannot see if the light will come after. When the world has wept one tear, it will weep thousands. This I foretell.
This I foretell.
Doesn't he say something? Doesn't she say something about it? This man stands at the center of it?
Wait, I didn't get to it. Then, to Rand only, this is, I guess, like, she whispers up to Rand's ear. This too I foretell. Pain and division come to the whole world, and this man stands at the heart of it. It's Rand.
Nice.
Spoiler
it says
alert.
to Rand, this man. Why did you say you?
I don't know.
I don't think she says it to Rand. I think she says it so
Quietly,
low
Yeah.
that he's the only one who could hear it. It's kind of a inverse of the secret wedding oath in season 1.
Yeah.
But it's and yet again she's like, yeah, let's let him go.
Oh, Morghese lets him go. I don't think she wants him.
Morghese lets him go.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says later on, I think in The Shadow Rising, I have a quote there, and ELAIDA had seen chaos swirling around him, division and strife for Andor, perhaps for even more of the world. So that's that's her reflecting back on that scene. Okay, so let's just talk about it, right? Foretelling, Jen, you mentioned, are they even going to do it in the show? If they don't do it, then I don't know. It's dumb. That's it's
Think of
dumb.
how many things you've said this about. If they don't do that, well, I don't know.
It's dumb.
So they could not do anything.
But it's a fantasy series. You got to predict like
They just had
foretellings.
one though.
So just one?
Oh, it's going to be years.
I know.
Since the
but
last
not
time
for
we
us.
saw
Well,
one.
it actually will be years for us too. But
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like,
No, I
I
think
think it's fine. Yeah. I think it's fine to do another foretelling, to say like, hey, this is just an ability that people have in the series. Min can do it too in a different way. Yeah, that's it. It's just she does, and I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know if you're going to see that she had the foretelling to go align herself with the Royal Line of Andor, or if she's gonna have
the Rand one is there's no point in the Rand foretelling.
Right, we know it already. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, that's already happened. That ship sailed.
He's like,
she
I
has to have
got
had
it.
the Royal Line of Andor foretelling before.
Yeah, that's true.
That
should be
happen now.
if she gets a flashback.
Yeah,
cold open. It'll be decision to
flashback cold open for.
And then the one about Andor marching. That you don't need that one too. I think the important one is the Royal Line of Andor.
Maybe they'll just give her a different foretelling, something about Swan or something. Or
I like the Royal Line of Andor because it explains her whole that sets up why she's even there.
No, but I mean, she could have had that one a long time ago. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe she'll just say she had it, and then we'll see a different one.
Yeah, they might not even show another one. You're right. They could just talk that she had a foretelling. I don't know who she would talk about it with, but she doesn't have any friends. Really.
Alviarin. Well, that wouldn't really. I don't know.
Well, that would have to be later, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I love how Alviarin just doesn't give a shit about anything she's saying. Right? I don't know at what point ELAIDA's like, this is the person. She's the one that I have to align myself with.
Well, it's not. It's literally she needed all of the white sitters to agree with her. Otherwise, she was going to be up a creek. And so Alviarin was like, all right, I'll get that for you. And what are you going to do for me? So that's it. It wasn't like you're the right choice. It was like, I owe you so much.
Quid pro quo. And she, that's exactly where Alviarin wanted to be, I think. But yeah, I'm going through my mind here with these foretellings. I do want to see one on screen. You're right. It doesn't make sense to do the Royal Line of Andor one now because doesn't really do anything because she's already been there. Doing a flashback, I don't know. Another flashback foretelling, that I could say, like, we're going to just keep doing flashback foretellings.
Sure.
So if they do refer to this one, but they want to do another foretelling just to give you something on screen, what's the foretelling? Is it the Andor one then, or they just make something up new?
I should know this and I didn't. Who has the foretelling that Rand will know Amren's anger? I think it's her, right? Yeah, it's ELAIDA has that one and thinks it's her and it's not her. So she can have that one.
When does she have
You
that
know what
one?
I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I don't remember that one. Sorry.
It's Rand will I think it's like, I don't remember the exact thing, but it's like Rand will kneel before the Amren's seat and know her anger. Something to that effect.
Oh,
Or
I guess
kneel
that's
before the
after
unbroken
she's-
tower or something like that.
Is that one of Egwene's dreams?
No, it's an ELAIDA foretelling. ELAIDA knows that obviously this is her and sees it as proof that she's going to eventually bring Rand to heal, wherein you as a reader are like, no, come on, that's got to be Egwene.
Oh, it's the one about the Black Tower.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, she talks about the Black Tower being blood and fire. And hold on. Oh, here we go. So it's the White Tower will be whole again, except for remnants cast out and scorned, whole and stronger than ever. Rand al'Thor will face the Amyrlin seat and know her anger. The Black Tower will be rent in blood and fire, and sisters will walk its grounds. This I foretell.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, Jen, I was hoping for another song.
Yeah,
No.
I think. So maybe you don't do that one because the Black Tower is not going to exist yet. But
You're right. She could do the Amyrlin seat one. Yeah, that whole part. Rand al'Thor will face the Amyrlin seat and know her anger.
Hurry up at the Black Tower on a clock.
That's another. That's another
She's
little
4.
hint. It's another foretelling, a foreshadowing. Sorry, so foretelling. That's a foreshadowing of Egwene. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
The fires of heaven. No, the Lord of Chaos when she becomes Amyrlin.
Is it
Yeah,
Lord of
yeah.
Chaos?
Lord of Chaos.
I like that one. I think they should put that one in then. Like, forget about the Black Tower part.
But
It could just be about the Amyrlin and Rand. Maybe something about the White Tower splitting.
yeah, heck, you can have something with the Black Tower in there, and so it'd be like, "What's the Black Tower?" It's irrelevant.
Oh, that's true. It could be a foreshadowing, another foretelling foreshadowing of the Black Tower.
You're missing the important part. No, we're not. ELAIDA, you're missing the important part. Sorry. Just
So in the TV show, we have Shora Agdashlu, who is unconfirmed to play the role of ELAIDA. Who is Shora? We did talk about a little bit about her when we first heard this. She's an Oscar-nominated actress. She was in House of Sand and Fog. She won the Independent Spirit Award for this. She also won an Emmy for House of Saddam. And Watt series, right, reported that she was spotted in the Czech Republic. She was also spotted on set in May at, oh God, I thought we were done with this. Vranov nad Daji Castle.
Sure.
you got it.
And the set apparently was dressed with banners of a white lion.
Oh boy.
So yeah, hence we made the connections that she's ELAIDA. And I think John from What Up also might have confirmed that unofficially. Confirmed that. So I want to get your thoughts on how she's going to be introduced in the show, because how she's introduced in the books can't happen. Well, not can't happen, but that's already passed. So she's not going to meet Rand probably, right? Unless they make a trip back to Camelin before they go to the Waste. So what are your thoughts? I'm sure you've been thinking about this since
every day of my life.
since you heard about ELAIDA.
Every day.
So I want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna meet her in Camelin in a scene with Queen Morghese. I feel like we've said this before, but I'll say it again.
Gowan.
Maybe word has gotten back to them about what happened in Falm and the dragon in the sky, and that Elaine is not answering Morghese's calls anymore, and she was maybe there, maybe not. Rumors, what's going on. And she's gonna send ELAIDA to the White Tower to find out what's happening. And when she's there, we're gonna see how mad people are at Swan after they found her broken body laying by a wake Kyrian, and the fallout from that.
Yeah, I think I'll just add that Gawain and Galad go with ELAIDA to the White Tower.
Yeah.
I guess. Like,
Yes.
I guess. I wonder if they're gonna make Gawain. They can't have Gawain be like her first Prince of the Sword in the way that he is in the book, where he like isn't supposed to leave her side because obviously, like, she went to the tower without him, and it like wasn't a big deal, and missed his birthday.
It was his birthday. Yeah.
If they keep the Gawain,
His
the
name
Gawain that we saw in the audition script, he's not going to be a responsible person necessarily. But I would say I agree with pretty much everything that Jen said. I'm going to say this is the last scene of episode 1.
You don't think
it's going to be
could open with this scene?
No, I think this is like a hook for this season kind of a scene. And I think Morghese is going to be sending her sons to the tower to get information about Elaine because she hasn't answered any letters and no one at the tower is telling her where she is. And ELAIDA says, I will be going with them. And I think that's her introduction.
Yeah.
She's very ominous. And
I think so too. I think we're getting right into it. How much do you think we're going to get of ELAIDA in this season? Like, are we really going to be building up on this tower coup as like one of the big storylines of the season, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think well, here's the thing.
It's going to happen.
I don't think
they're going to build it up much though.
No, I don't think it's a big storyline screen time wise. I think you're going to get ELAIDA episode 1, episode 2 or 3. And then episode 4 episode 4 or 5 is the tower coup, and then that's it for the tower in the season. It's just the coup. You see Swan escape, and then you don't hear from any of those people for the rest of the season. I think it's what I would say.
Yeah, you can do that.
I think I said this before, right? You do tower coup, and then you do Rudian. I don't know how to say that name. And like, no, I'm saying literally like one episode is the tower coup. That's like the end of the episode. And the next episode is a bottle episode of Rudian where you don't find out anything that happened. And it just moves, the rest of the story moves on from there.
Yeah.
I think that Swan escapes at the end of that episode, or I think with her imprisoned.
I think she escapes. If she escapes, I know there's been theorizing just because she's famous.
They could just kill her off.
They're going to kill her off. I don't know if that's the case. I really don't see any indication of that other than people going like, is she really going to stick around? She seems to be invested. I don't know. But yeah, I think that storyline ends with Min probably, maybe, or I don't know what, because maybe Min's in Tanchico.
We think Min's in Tanchico.
Maybe it's just Logain getting them out and Gawain allows them to leave. And that's it.
Can you imagine Gawain allowing Logain and the 2 women he just fought to have deposed, just lets them out?
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But if Gawain's
Gawain's idiotic decisions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously it was one of the only good decisions he makes in the books.
Yes. He starts off strong. He really falls apart right around then.
Right around then, yeah. And that's the last thing he does, until the end, I guess.
But if he doesn't let them go, at least you'd have some respect for him.
Well, maybe he's going
to aside.
Yeah, maybe you're going to have respect for Gawain. Maybe he's going to be a little different of a character in the show.
Maybe Logain will just kill Gawain, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I'd love if they made this like one of the really spent a lot of time on this storyline. It would be pretty cool. I think you'd still have time for a lot of the other stuff, right? Because if you want to break it down, right, our storylines are, Elaine and Nynaeve and Matt and Tom and Min and Tanchico. I don't know what the hell's going on there, right? And then you're probably going to have Mulgety in there and Leandrin and some of the other Black Ajah are likely there. So that's like a lot going on right there with a lot of characters.
Jacob Carradine.
You could bring in Jacob Carradine as well there. You're going to have your Ruidian group, your Iowace group, which is going to be like another large portion of the characters. And then you're going to have your Two Rivers group, which is a smaller portion of the characters, but you're going to, reunite with some of the other characters from the first season. So, I mean, that's your main group. So, there's not many ancillary stories going on in that book.
The tower is the ancillary story.
Yeah, the tower is. So you can spend, 4 storylines you could do easily. Depending on what else they're trying to set up, though.
I I think the tower storyline works more effectively if it's like, well, what the fuck is gonna happen next? And
Yeah.
like you don't find out.
Yeah.
Like, then like I don't know if it's as effective if there's like, okay, and now we're gonna see a scene where ELAIDA is a shitty leader right now. I think it's more like I think it's more effective the way they do it in the books, where that happens, and the next time you see her, she's in charge, and you're like, oh, she's fucking really bad at this.
But they're
Like-
going to have to, you don't think she's going to be involved? You're not going to see her on screen involved in the coup?
No, you are. I think
Okay.
I think the coup happens.
Is like the coup her sitting on the Amerlin seat? Is that like the end of it? Like the end
Yeah.
of what you see in the show? On
Yeah,
this
maybe
season?
you see. Yeah, like maybe it's the kind of thing where it's like you see Swan and Liana and Logain escape, and they're running out, and they're like, then it just like fade pans over to like ELAIDA getting the stole put on her or whatever, and it's like, you know,
The
I like
Imperial
that.
March
Oh, I
hits.
see. I'm seeing here sentencing and stilling of Swan. Like we get the Swan stilling on screen.
yeah, I do think there's a lot of stuff that happens off screen that they're gonna give show to do. So I think that you'll have more. I guess it's more like it's gonna be less from Min's point of view, what the fuck's going on kind of stuff.
Well, Min's probably not going to
But-
be there.
Right. So I think you'll have more like this is what they said, this is what they did, like stuff. But I just don't think. I think the back half of the series is going to be. When I say the series, I mean season 3 is going to be more focused on like Rand storyline and Perrin storyline, and to a lesser extent the Nynaeve.
At Nynaeve, Elaine, Tom, Min storyline.
Yeah, that one.
I'm excited because I like that everyone's back together, but they're still split apart. But like everybody's in groups now. You got large groups of characters together, which is so there's going to be like the general story for that group, but plus individual little things going on within there. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm kind of interested in whether or not this is one of those loony theories, and people brought this up, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe. But any chance that you think that they can make ELAIDA Black Aja?
I think there's always a chance, but I hope not.
Yeah.
What are your percentages?
17.4.
17.4%.
Yeah,
That they-
they're good.
I was going to say
They will
80,
make her Black
80,
Aja.
80 that she won't be 20. I was going to say 20 that she
Wow,
won't be.
I think it's 98% chance they're not going to do it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to put anything past them, so I give that 2%. Nice glass of 2% milk.
Yum.
Filling.
Tom, do you think ELAIDA's going to fill if she does? Right, so you had the theory that Leandrin was filling the
Which was
Alviarin role,
debunked.
which was, I think, already debunked.
Yeah.
What about ELAIDA filling the Leandrin, the Alviarin role? Making her Black Aja.
No.
Making her the head of the Black Aja.
No, that's the worst.
And there is no Alviarin.
She's not
role, it's just her.
incompetent if she's the head of the Black Aja.
Yes, I think that it changes her character so immensely as to I hope they don't do it. But I also think like how else do you I guess you can do something where you cut Alviarin, which I man, she's like one of my favorite characters in the books, but like and just have a Forsaken be the person who's advising.
Well,
Like
I
have
mean-
it directly be the Forsaken in the tower.
Well,
be
yeah, I mean,
her-
Masana's there, right? But it doesn't look like we're getting a Masana, so which of the Forsaken would be there? Semiraj?
So Semiraj, or you know what? I've
Grendel?
heard. Like, I think you floated this, Joe, in a prior episode. Maybe Moghedien goes there,
That's-
and Leandrin stays as the primary antagonist for Nynaeve.
Yeah, that was my
Maybe
thought. I think someone said though,
Yeah.
Leia Costa was. Did John say Leia Costa was there in on the Tenchico set or in that area?
I don't
when they were
remember.
filming? I don't remember. Yeah, maybe not. That was a theory of mine, and one of my hotter takes.
It was a hot,
Hot
take.
take. Look out.
Yeah, Leandrin's the one that Nynaeve fights in Tenchico, and yeah, Moghedien goes to the tower. I feel like they've already set Moghedien up though to be like a whack job, so I can't picture her going in the tower and posing as a sister for a long period of time.
What about Lanfear in the tower? She could bop back and forth.
Could, I guess. She's hiding with the caravan as Kylie,
No.
and then also going.
Maybe
We've already-
not.
we've-
Maybe she's not. Maybe they're not going to do the caravan because maybe they're not going
I
to be
think they are.
traveling that long.
But I mean, I think Lanfear is going to be traveling with them. Lanfear and Asmodean are going to be traveling with them in the Waste.
Yeah, but maybe it won't be the same. Like, I don't know. Could be.
It's such a
completely
fun
different.
reveal at the end, though. Come on.
It is, but it's also like she's fat and ugly.
It's going to be a
That
different
was
actress.
Lanfear the whole. Oh my god! Like I can't believe. I don't know. It's just like a weird.
I think
Well, I
that's,
don't think
but
they're
that's a
gonna put her
big
in like
Respect.
in like the shallow house.
Well, that's
suit
like how
that
she's
Gwyneth Paltrow.
described, basically.
wears.
No, have another.
I know that, but maybe like
You don't have to make her like comically obese,
Yeah.
right? But you could still make her like
Natasha O'Keeffe.
coarse and unattractive and make it like, well, there's no way the Lanfear we know would ever use that as a disguise, except she would, right?
But the thing is, nobody's used disguises yet, really. So that's what
Right.
I'm saying. Like, that happens so much in the books where the characters are using the mask of mirrors. So this is the perfect time to introduce it and like be like, hey, by the way, these really powerful Forsaken can make themselves look like other people, which is going to happen a lot in the coming seasons.
Yeah, I think you do it. Otherwise, like, it's really, I don't know. Otherwise, it's very tough to have them hide, right? Like, you're gonna know who they all are, or you're never gonna see them as actual Forsaken, right? So back to ELAIDA, I guess.
this is the Keeley
I'm doing
episode.
Did you have
so-
some insights onto
Oh, I
the
do.
origins
I
of ELAIDA?
do. Yeah, so obviously a lot of ELAIDA's I think influences come with the storyline of the tower split. There's hold on a second, let me just bring this up. But there was a schism in the Catholic Church where apparently basically the Romans, the Italians in the area let the church know that if they didn't elect a Roman pope, that there were going to be problems, and they were sick of being ruled by somebody who wasn't from their country. So Pope Urban VI was the pope that was elected, and he immediately was awful and really bad at his job. So much so, treated people so poorly and harshly that a bunch of the cardinals left and set up their own cardinals and own pope. And that lasted for 40 years, that schism. It actually, like, they ended up deposing that pope before the schism was done and elected like 2 other popes before they finally recoalesced. So he's a big influence. Some other ones, I have to say, so it's funny because I was thinking about it now, and not to get too political, but my first instinct was Donald Trump, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that happened after the books came out. But I do think that there's a lot of his governing style that is reflected in ELAIDA.
Well, I believe that she was on the cover of Weekly Wheel News with a hat saying "Make the White Tower great again" or something.
Great again, yeah. There's a lot of that. That's true. And then maybe that's why it popped in my head. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about though that weren't necessarily just her influence, but things like this. All right, so one, we made some comments like kind of casually, but ELAIDA's stupid. Like, she's really not intelligent at all. But the way that the tower is constructed, the way that it is ingrained into every initiate of the White Tower, is that you respect people who are powerful. You respect people and you give credence to people who were raised quickly. But you're raised quickly because you're powerful for the most part. So literally, the only reason she got her job is because of how she was born and what she looks like, right? She looks stern. She's super powerful. And she just expects that entitles her to be the leader, which it does there, which is why the tower is awful. One of the reasons why the tower is awful, right? So it struck me, and this is an odd thing, but if you look at, if you go back and you look at your local news, and you go anywhere in the country, and you turn on the local news, the newscasters that you see look exactly like the ones where you come from. Because everyone just looks a certain way and sounds a certain way, so they get that job. If you go to if you look at sports managers or sports coaches, they all look the same, they all sound the same for the most part. There's obviously exceptions to this, but like, because that is what is expected. And I feel like that is why she has this job. Like, she's completely unqualified for it, literally has no administrative experience at all in the tower, doesn't know the rules of like, doesn't know how the hall of the tower operates, but comes back, says, well, I'm going to be a sitter now. They go, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. She becomes a sitter, goes, well, I'm going to depose her. Yeah, that sounds good. And I'm going to be in charge. Of course, you're strong. You should be in charge. So, like, I just think that sort of inherent flawed structure of the tower is something that I hope they do explore in the show, even though they haven't set up any of those rules yet. So, but I hope they kind of explore that, like, basically, she's a product of a system so set in its ways that it can't even see it's making errors.
It's funny. People are going to, if they put that in there, people are going to think like, oh, they're trying to be political and comment on current events. That's what people are going to say.
Right, but
no,
I mean, it's very old events.
20 years ago.
So one other thing that I thought, there's two other ones that I had that I thought were interesting. One was Louis XIV of France, right? He built the Sun King, right? He built the palace in France with all the mirrors and stuff. And when the state tried to hold him, the judiciary of France tried to hold him accountable for the laws of France, he basically told them, I am the state, and I'm not subject to any of your laws because I make the law. That didn't go too well for him. And then the last one that I thought was interesting, this is less about her, but more about the schism altogether, which I should have, but I never really picked up on. There's a bunch of rebels in the tower, and they go flee to the south part of the continent, and then they get a general who's very heavily influenced by Robert E. Lee to lead their army. So,
and they win.
They win.
Well,
it's weird
really
because
win,
then, like,
yeah, they don't really win, but
they don't really win. Like, there's more of a conciliation there that's done than anything else. So, I wouldn't call ELAIDA in any way a Lincoln figure, but I do think that she's
no, she's more of a Calhoun.
Yes, yeah. So she's Thaddeus Stevens or something like that. But like, she's I thought that was an interesting kind of thing. When I was reading up on this, I was like, oh yeah, I should have really thought about that, and I never did. Probably because you like the rebels here; they're the gooder guys.
They're like the rebels in Star Wars.
Also,
ones you
generally
like.
Better, yeah. Right. So yeah, I think ELAIDA is every more than any particular influence. I think there's definitely some heavy things, like I mentioned before, in regards to the schisms of the Catholic Church. But more than that, she's like every person who got a job because of like what they look like or what they sound like or where they are from, and not because of any merit. And she succeeds just about as well as any of those people.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, think, what are her qualifications? She was raised. She also pretty much immediately left the tower to go be an advisor to a queen for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then
well, she goes back to the
comes
tower.
Back.
Though, I think
she does come back on occasion.
Yeah, it's not like,
but not often.
I don't know. I feel like she probably goes back at least maybe once a year. That's my thinking of it. Although, how long does it take to get there? Like, what's the commute? Yeah, because it's not like she just has to, she drives there. Like it's an hour and a half or 2 hour drive once a year.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how
a few
long
weeks,
it takes
right?
to get there. I don't know if it's a few weeks, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's like every 3 years, 5 years. But she still has contact with the tower, though. She still writes letters.
She does. No. She's an active member of the tower.
Yeah,
but she's an active. She's a field member of the tower. She's not office staff.
She's a field scientist.
She doesn't know how any of this stuff runs. She's not really involved in any of the politics. And
no, yet she's when you go through. You think she would pick some stuff up from the queen that she's been spending a lot of time with. It's supposed to be advising.
The queen's an idiot because, right? But like not only like,
but she's not an idiot. Who's an idiot? You said the queen's an idiot.
No, she thinks the queen is an idiot because the queen probably disagrees with her and doesn't listen to her advice. Just kill everybody. Queen. You should hang that guy.
I don't think she's just like that.
No, but I think that what I mean more is along the lines like it's shown in the beginning, but it's shown throughout the series that like ELAIDA doesn't understand what the conventions of the tower are. She has her own misinformed impressions of what they should be, and then she just tries to make them that, which is only makes things worse.
Do you
And she
think,
makes so many bad decisions that aren't even decisions that are influenced by Alviarin. They're just her own stupid decisions. Yes.
With her bad choices. Do you think, right, so now we're bringing in another character, another Red Sister who is very unlikable. Do you think she's kind of going to overtake Leandrin? Do you think Leandrin could potentially die this season because look, here's another Red Sister who's a bitch and we think might be bad and is horrible?
So you go first.
No, I don't know. I mean, is this at the end of the Shadow Rising? Is that when she gets compelled?
Oh,
no, it's the fires of heaven when
Leandrin.
Yeah.
I think it's much later.
I think the Fires of Heaven, because it's after Moghedien is hurt fighting Birgitte, and when Birgitte shoots her with an arrow, she comes back, she makes them heal her, tries to attack.
Is it like Millie Skane take control of her or something like that?
Yeah, like that. I guess that's the same. Like Leandrin becomes like this very just nothing character who whatever. The subject of her actions, she gets the fate.
Do you think that's going to happen? That might start happening in this season. This is really the end of Leandrin as like a force, or influential character.
Or they could keep her going because they like the actress and the character. They might find something else for her to do.
I have one more question. This is Dana Lou popped this into Discord. Oh, and it wasn't a question, but she mentions that ELAIDA is right in the books. ELAIDA is influenced by Fane.
Yeah.
Which is it's like a sentence or two in there. There's not even much that even mentions it. It just talks that he was there.
There's I think there's one scene where they're together and he's hanging around. Then he kills the Aes Sedai in the tower. They accepted or whatever.
So do you think we're gonna get that?
He gets the dagger back. The dagger. Yeah. That's also in the Fires of Heaven. I think. Because it's after he leaves the Two Rivers.
Potentially could be in this book because we haven't even talked about what Fane's going to do. But this season. Let's not even get to the Fane story. But do you think there could be potential that he winds up at the tower and influences ELAIDA, comes into contact with her?
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't really see any reason for him to go there.
He's probably going to go back to the Two Rivers, I think, if he's going to appear anywhere.
Well, he'd definitely be in the Two Rivers this season.
Yeah.
But I don't, even after that, I don't know that he would go there.
All right. Any final thoughts on ELAIDA before we wrap this up?
She is the worst, and yet I still kind of feel bad for her at the end.
Nah, I don't feel bad for her.
I feel a little bit.
I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and also Threads. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information are included in the show notes to this episode. Final thoughts, Jen?
I have a quick one. For some reason, me and Dan today were talking about Fail and the Faile Bashir thing and whether that was going to be her name on the show or not. And then he goes back to sit at his computer and I hear him go, "Oh no." I said, "What?" He goes, "I saw something." I said, "What are you doing? You Googled her?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Fail Bashir T.I. Bara?" I'm like, "Oh God." Like, why did you Google her? He's like, "Wait, I thought he had a different wife." I'm like, "Just don't worry about it. Just watch the show." You kind of spoiled yourself here a little. I'm like, "You never Google. That was a terrible idea." So that's for everyone out there. If you don't know, don't Google.
Well, it's too late. You just spoiled it.
Well, if you listen to this episode, then you definitely.
I don't think we have to worry about anybody who listens to our podcast about that.
Tell your loved ones not to Google.
Any last thoughts before we close?
I had two quick ones. One, Rest in peace to Carl Weathers.
I'm
Very,
sorry.
very sad.
Wait, sorry. Say that again. I started laughing because you were like rest in, like you weren't sure what you were going to say there. So I started laughing.
I wasn't sure what I was going to say. I was debating about the rest.
Well, you already
power.
committed to the rest in part. You had to say peace. There was nothing else you could say there.
No, I could have said rest in power, but then I took it back.
Oh, okay.
I felt like people might have thought I was insincere, and I didn't want to be insincere.
I started laughing though because you did that just when you said rest in peace, Carl Weathers. So now I feel like people are going to think I was laughing at Carl Weathers dying.
Carl Weathers.
Do you want me to just say it again?
It'll probably be in the video if I remember to cut it out. But yeah, let's try that again. Take it again.
All right. So I have a couple of things, Joe. One, quickly, I wanted to say rest in peace to Carl Weathers. Tremendous entertainer, great actor, great athlete. Just in so many iconic different movies, TV shows, things of that nature. And it really impacted me in a surprisingly emotional way when I found out he had passed earlier today.
Yeah.
We're recording this on the 2nd. On a brighter note, how about them Baltimore Orioles? They had themselves a week. And congratulations to anyone who's a fan of that team.
Who gives a shit about the Orioles, not Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers.
The Orioles they have the second worst owners in baseball. They just got bought by a quadrillionaire who grew up as a Baltimore Orioles fan, and then like the next day they traded for like one of the 5 best pitchers in baseball and put him on their team. So it's going well for them.
Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.